Hello and welcome to this video response to Gigguk's rant on the big three, which are Naruto, Bleach and One Piece, in case you didn't know already. I'll be telling you what I think about their popularity, what I think about the shows in general, and what I think about the fandom. Now the best place to start would be to talk about the shows themselves, and I'll take them one by one, starting with Naruto. Now Naruto, like all of the big three, started out as a manga before also later being adapted into an anime. At the moment I'm recording this, Naruto is at 621 manga chapters. The first part of the anime ended with 220 episodes, and the second part, Naruto Shippuden, meaning Hurricane Chronicles, is at 301 episodes. After the first few episodes, which are basically your mandatory character introduction episodes, you get into a fairly decent plot, followed by another decent plot, which is the one that opens up the main plot, and after that you do get deeper and deeper into how things work and what is going on. And you do get to see a couple of interesting side characters too, however some of them just get so much more attention than others, it's kinda sad that way. I will admit already now that I prefer part 1 over part 2 of the anime, basically because I think part 1 is what made the anime great with its contents. Now that is not to say that part 2 isn't good, but it just doesn't meet the standards and expectations of part 1, I think. The story is fairly solid, but it does get kinda ridiculous towards the end, and I am personally just following it because I want to see it through to the end. As for the characters, they do have a certain charisma to them, but I just don't think they're anything special. The music could have been better, although it does fit the theme, I think, and overall it's just an okay anime. So if it's just an okay anime, what is it that has made it popular? Well, for some people it is the anime, and you can't really have watched the anime without having watched Naruto. Other people think these people are Narutards. Personally, I think it got a well-deserved popularity for the beginning of the first part of the anime. As it is now, it has declined and isn't really deserving of such praise anymore, but would I still recommend it? Yes, I would. What really pulls this anime down is the filler, and while in part 2 they are fairly cleverly placed and you hardly realize they're there sometimes, in part 1 they stick out like sore thumbs and you just don't really get any joy out of them. Those are just my very basic thoughts about Naruto. I could have gone on for much longer, but I don't really have the time. So on to the next one, and next I will be talking about Bleach. When I first started watching Bleach, what puzzled me the most was the choice of title. Bleach. That's something you watch it close with. What kind of title is that? Despite the title, the manga has already reached 527 chapters, although the anime is notably the only one that has ended among the big three at 366 episodes. It uses a lot longer in the beginning to introduce characters, however the very same episodes are used to show you how this thing works with Soul Reapers, Souls and Hollows and all that crap. Eventually this leads into what I think is a very great arc. I was on the edge of my seat the first time I saw it, and I still think it is very good. However, it might also be one of its biggest downfalls because that set the expectations so high. So when you get to the later parts, not so great anymore. Personally, I also think the characters in Bleach are a bit more bland and forgettable than in Naruto, although there are, unlike Naruto, some characters that really stand out and you do get well acquainted with them and start to like them a lot. And there is what I think is Bleach's recipe to success. A very good opening and a couple of characters that you just want to see more of. So despite that it goes downhill after the Soul Society arc, I think that is why people just hang on and think it will reach the pinnacle of what it was. Unfortunately, Bleach doesn't only suffer from a declining storyline, but also from the fillers, and most notably where they are placed, because they are horribly placed. They are placed in the middle of the storylines. Now, there are exceptions to this, but they just love to put it in the middle of the main plot and just screw what's happening now. Let's pretend it doesn't happen and just do a side story of some kind. Though finally, I will say in Bleach's defense that I do enjoy their soundtracks. I will not listen to them by themselves, but I do think they really emphasize the mood in the show, so they'll have kudos for that. So would I recommend to watch Bleach? Well, yes I would, but I would also recommend to stop watching after the Soul Society arc, because after that it just all goes downhill, and if you have to keep watching, then at least stop before it gets to the final arc, because that one is total shit. And for God's sake, when you encounter the filler arcs, find out where it ends and skip it, because you gain nothing from it. Nothing! Now that was 2 down, and now we're moving on to the final one, One Piece. One Piece has lasted much longer than the 2 others. It is currently at 699 chapters and 585 episodes, and that is a lot. And whereas the other 2 are seemingly coming to a close, One Piece is still going strong and has a long way to go before it ever reaches the end. Why is that? Well, I did read that the creator did have so much fun that when he created One Piece, what was originally meant to be a 5-year project just grew and grew and grew, and it is currently at a lot more years than 5. Now, while One Piece uses its length to actually get you in depth into the world it's set in, it's also a major downfall in the beginning, using something like 50 episodes just to introduce you to the first few main characters, and it just kinda gets a bit dragged out. Also, while Naruto doesn't really use recaps and Bleach hardly uses them, One Piece thrives on them. The longer the arcs, the longer the recaps in the beginning of the episode, so much that they almost take up half the episode alone. However, those recaps are a case of take the bad with the good, because the longer the recaps, the less chance there is for fillers. Seriously, among all the big 3, One Piece is the least bothered by fillers. Those that are usually short arcs or just single episodes that stand alone, and you just don't really notice that they are fillers all the time. Now, the main goal of the story doesn't get much credit from me, because it is about a young boy wanting to become the best, in this case the Pirate King, and that is so common it's kinda boring almost. But it's how they get there that really captures me, and the way it presents its great, immense, and most of all original world is really noteworthy. Now, I think the characters are all well thought out, and what I really like also is that when they tell the backstory, they don't just take the most significant parts and then just move on with the main story. They go into detail, get you into the psyche and the mindset of the characters, so that you just know them so much better. The music is almost always very merry and happy, and especially the opening themes, which are among some of the best I have ever heard. One of my favorites being the opening One Day, which is during the Great War arc. And happy and merry music goes well along with this series, which is by nature very light-hearted, mostly due to the characters. However, it does evolve into something a little bit more serious once you get to where it is around now. However, it is still very light-hearted, very kid-friendly, and very watchable by almost all age groups. So, same question as with the other 2 series. Would I recommend One Piece? In this case, definitely yes. I just think it has a very good character-driven story, and it uses plot twists as well as plot extensions, and it just always leaves something in the dark for you to find out later in the series, and you just get this promise all the time that it will come, so you just have to keep watching. The humor and how it's portrayed is also a big reason to why I'd highly recommend it to anyone, because in Bleach it's like they have an action scene and they're really serious, and all of a sudden they just use some silly animation and then silly music to get a joke across. In Naruto it's a lot of that as well, although a little bit more natural, but in One Piece they can be completely serious, there's no funny music going on, and they're still funny somehow. So that was my general thoughts on the 3 series. What is good with them, what is bad with them. And do they deserve their popularity? Well, it's a little hit and miss there. In Naruto's and One Piece's case, it's a case of the archetypes not being met and the expectations for what it's all about. Because in Naruto it's about ninjas. You expect black-clothed people that stealthily assassinate you in the night, and in One Piece you expect rough pirates that do piratey things, and they don't fulfill those expectations. It's completely different from what you first expect. That was at least the case for me. Bleach is about death gods, and you don't really have any expectations that you have to get into it. So what it suffers from is the declining storyline, as mentioned before. However, back to Naruto and One Piece, some people actually like what they've done. I personally quite like One Piece's take on pirates. I think it's a welcome change after watching Pirates of the Caribbean and all that. However, to some, loudmouth ninjas and happy-go-lucky pirates are just what sparkly vampires are to others. Twilight! Twilight! In One Piece's case, I've also heard people complain about their character designs. People don't look like that, people aren't that big, people don't have 2 elbow joints, not all girls look like supermodels, and they just keep complaining and just ignore the fact that it's a fantasy universe in a completely different world. It doesn't have to be realistic. In the end, I don't think you really can deny that it is with anime like with most other things. It's a matter of taste. Some people will like them, some people will not like them, some people will hate all 3, some people will love all 3. So even though I think it's really useless to say this, I'll still say it. Just try to get along and respect what others like to watch. Now finally, before I end this video response, I'll be talking a little bit about the fandom. And there really isn't a lot to say other than that the lovers just kinda creep me out with their passion, and the haters just makes me wanna take 2 steps back slowly and then start running away. So first, a little message to all lovers of anime. Any anime. Try to calm down and sound reasonable when you explain why you love an anime, because or else you're risking that people will not watch the anime simply because all you say is an unintelligible sentence filled with I love it, I love it, I love it, you must watch it, you must watch it, you must watch it. And to the haters, basically the same message. Try to calm down and sound reasonable when you explain why an anime is not good, because or else you'll scare people away with your it's horrible, it burns! And that was it. This has been my video response to Gigguk's rant on the big 3. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope you will also not hesitate to give me your views in a comment or in another video response. Though odds are you don't really care about that, because I'm just some nobody on YouTube, so just do whatever you want. This has been Anime Mixer 1, and I approve of this message.